Hey everybody! It is the 43rd Koopa Kast! Hooray!
Yeah.
Woo! I'm your host this week, Matthew Paxton. I'm the writer for Koopa Kast, and I will introduce these four other people, and along with that, they will answer with this one question. What is your proudest gaming accomplishment?
That's a hard one.
That is a hard one.
Yeah. Oh, I have one. I would have to say my proudest accomplishment was unlocking all of the cheats in GoldenEye 64.
Oh, nice.
And for people that know what that's like, one of the cheats I think is invisibility, and in order to unlock it, you have to beat the facility in a minute and 20 seconds on 007, 00 agent difficulty. It is extremely hard to do.
There's no way.
Or no, I think it was maybe 2 minutes and 10 seconds. I'm mixing that up instead of 120. I think it's 2:10. But it was ridiculous. Like you literally, I think certain enemies spawn in certain places, and so if one of the enemies isn't in the right exact spot at a certain time, you're done. You have to restart the whole thing.
Oh, man. Well, I guess I'll go. I thought of mine. I'm Alex. I'm a writer for Pure Nintendo. And my proudest gaming moment would probably be when I beat Ocarina of Time Master Quest with only 3 hearts and no deaths whatsoever.
Ooh.
So that's my... It was fun. I want to do it again. It's been a while.
That is sweet.
Well, guys, Justin and I can't have been the only ones that have done something awesome.
I'd say I'll probably. Sorry, yeah, I'm Thomas. I'm the writer for the site and the magazine. Recently replaying Echo the Dolphin and having such a hard time with it, I'd probably say not having such a hard time with it when I was about 8 years old. I remember getting a lot further than I managed to get this time around, so almost towards the end of the game, so probably that.
That's an accomplishment in itself. That game's like ridiculous.
Couldn't get past the first stage this time around, so
Yeah.
I've got worse.
Yeah.
And I'm J Money. I'm the assistant editor for the website and our magazine. And gosh, I can't even think of one. Like I don't have any outstanding accomplishments in video gaming. If I finish a game, that's an accomplishment. I'm terrible for getting backlogs, so I guess I've nearly completed every Need for Speed game I've ever played.
Oh, there you go.
There you go.
So I guess that's something.
Yeah.
That's definitely a series I need to get back into.
Yeah.
And I guess I'll finish it off. I already introduced myself, but my proudest gaming accomplishment is still nabbing the Guinness World Record for longest video games marathon playing Mario.
Nice.
Awesome.
Yeah.
52 hours of Mario action.
Dear Lord.
Nice.
Yeah.
Did you get a did you get a plaque for that or anything or a certificate or?
I mean, it's not all official, quote unquote. Like I know I did it. I saw me do it.
Yeah.
But there's this whole thing with footage, and it's very hard to move because the amount of footage we had for that event was about 65 hours worth.
That would be a lot of data.
Yes, it would. Never record 65 hours in one file. Split it up. That's a pro tip.
There you go.
And with the introductions out of the way, let's go ahead and get into some news. I'm sure we've all seen the Nintendo's investors meeting last Thursday, where they talked about what their business plan is going to be. They talked about health entertainment, stuff on non-wearable platforms. What did you guys think of all that when it started coming out?
Well, I was glad to at least hear something from Nintendo because it seemed like they had been really, really quiet since the beginning of the year, really. Um, we heard when they announced their updated forecast, and that's when all the gloom and doom started happening and people were speculating for 2 weeks. So I was glad Nintendo broke the silence and actually had, something they were talking about. I'm not sure what I think about everything. I didn't really read through the whole, all of the investor notes, the briefing notes, but I caught some of the highlights, and I was kind of glad that it didn't seem like such a radical strategy as some people were thinking, like, oh, they're going to go mobile, they're going to release game demos on iOS and all this stuff. It seemed like Nintendo did concede that they'd need to do more, and they seemed like they announced some plans that they're getting into motion, but nothing quite as rash as some of the things people were calling for.
Well, they did say that they were kicking around an idea of having like a mobile Nintendo channel to advertise their content on mobile devices.
Yeah.
So I think that'll be an interesting direction for them. They said it won't be profitable yet, but they're all about trying to reach people. And they said that was probably like their biggest thing was they didn't really communicate the value of the Wii U to people, which I can understand. I would agree with that.
Yeah.
Because everyone was saying that there weren't very many great games for the Wii U, but we got some pretty decent titles. I got a nice little library of games that are all great, and it seems like a lot of people don't know about that. So.
Yeah. I think it'll be interesting to see how they approach the app. Do you guys remember the Nintendo Channel on the Wii?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think they've almost gotten rid of the need for that with the Wii U because the eShop has become almost their main hub. You've got all the trailers, you got all of the demos, things like that. I'd almost think that whatever Nintendo app they do almost just needs to integrate what the eShop is. It's got all the trailers, it's got everything there about the games, and then maybe just give the added ability for people to download demos from the app, onto their Wii U. So it's like, hey, download this game demo while I'm at work, and when I get home, it's downloaded. Because I think they need something more compelling to get people to download the app than just, hey, this is an app that gives you trailers. It's like, okay, well, we can go to your YouTube page for that, or we can go, to your website for that.
You're basically installing a commercial machine on your phone,
Well, and I liked was it the Nintendo show or whatever they had on the 3DS with Jesse Cantrell?
Oh, yeah, uh-huh.
I really liked that and thought that might be something good to bring back or something in some sort of form like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it'd be nice if they could incorporate some of those shows and everything all within the app, so it's it has its own entertainment value by itself, but then it hooks in, hey, if you've got your Nintendo Network ID, log in here and you can download 3DS and Wii U demos from the app.
Sure, it would be nice if you could go on your Nintendo app and listen to the Pure Nintendo podcast.
Ooh,
Right from the Nintendo app.
that would be nice, yeah.
That's some entertainment value right there.
Yeah.
I definitely think it's good that Nintendo is making some moves onto other platforms, even if this isn't like something profitable, and it is just it ends up to be like a commercial machine. It might at least like dig some kind of heels in there into like the mobile, and I feel like this is like the first step is like you see commercials, and then after that maybe some eShop stuff, and then after that the Miiverse app, which I think that's something that we'll definitely be seeing on mobile platforms.
Yeah.
I was also really pleasantly surprised to hear that they were working on the future hardware and software where with our Nintendo Network IDs, it's all going to be kind of like unified. It won't be such a rough transition. Both their portables and their actual home consoles will be able to communicate with each other with one distinct network. It won't be two separate things. I think that's a very big step for them to have it unified and easier to use.
Yeah. And you can see them kind of taking strides now with the 3DS, having the ability to do, sync up the Nintendo Network ID on there. I think it's good that they're doing that now, so that way, 2 years down the road, whenever the new handheld or console come out, pretty much everyone will have had and created a Nintendo Network ID by that point. So it'll be easy to just, transfer that to the new system. I did also like, and I think I got this right from what I read, but it seemed like Nintendo said they're also going to try and create almost like a single operating system for their new systems. And some people were saying, oh, they're making one console, and that's what they were alluding to. But I feel like they were alluding not to necessarily one console, but that the console and handheld would almost have the same base operating system. And I was talking to James about this recently, and I think that's really big if that's the case. Like, the console just has a scaled-up version of the same operating system. But what the benefit of that is developers who are making a game on whatever the new console and handheld is, they just have to develop it on one. It's essentially one platform, and then all they're doing is they're maybe scaling the graphics down a little bit for the handheld. So you could still have the same thing running on there. Now, if you had games like the Virtual Console, that the 3DS could probably do 64 games, the Wii U can do 64 games. So you have like a common denominator. So instead of buying a $5 64 game on the Wii U and the $5 same 64 game on the 3DS, you're paying $10. Instead, you pay $5 once, and you can play it on either system. So I think that would be the benefit of having that unified operating system. So
Definitely.
And I was talking with Chris from Utah 3DS Street Pass on Twitter a little bit about the same sort of thing, and that they might be moving more towards something where, like, if you're playing a console game at home, but then you have to run out somewhere, but you want to take the game with you, maybe having to transfer your save file to your handheld and then being able to take the game with you as well. And because he was discussing like cross-buy and is it really working for the PlayStation? Will Nintendo do something like that? And I said, well, I don't know if they'll necessarily do something similar, but it'd be neat to be able to take games on the go and have the same console gaming experience handheld-wise.
Definitely.
yeah, and I could almost see them, instead of having a completely different console and handheld, maybe their new platform is just a handheld, and then the home console is essentially just like a hub console.
Right.
You could think of it like an Apple TV or something that's just kind of a smaller. Maybe it boosts the graphics a little bit, for gameplay at home. But when you go on the go, you've got all of the hardware, all of the power, processing power in that handheld controller. That could be really cool.
And something they did announce that it looks like, I was certainly excited for it. I'm sure a lot of people also are, but that there was going to be DS games that were going to go onto the Wii U Virtual Console in the future.
There we go.
Yeah.
I know I can't wait to get my hands on Metroid Fusion. That's Fusion and Zero Mission are the like two biggest holes I have in my handheld library.
Yeah. Well, Fusion was a Game Boy Advance game, but Fusion is available actually right now on the 3DS Virtual Console. But yeah, there's so many DS games I think would be awesome to play on the Wii U. And I think we've done several articles. Sorry, G-Money. We've done several articles on DS games that would work on the Wii U, and pretty much any single DS game. So I was glad that they announced the DS on there.
Like me, I didn't pick up another Nintendo handheld until the 3DS. So, not saying that I can't go out and buy DS games, because I can, but I didn't play those games when the DS was out. So having those come up on the Wii U will kind of be interesting for someone like me, because a lot of those games I probably haven't even experienced yet.
And it's really interesting to me, because we're talking about in the future Nintendo with a merged console handheld. Nintendo's actually doing a lot of that right now. I mean, right now on your 3DS, if you go on the eShop, you can actually look at trailers for Wii U games, and vice versa. If you go on the Wii U eShop, you can actually look up 3DS games on the eShop.
I think their wish lists are merged too. So
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So you got the merge wish list now with that 3DS update. So, and now that the DS games are going to be on the Wii U, I think for a while Nintendo was keeping, handheld systems on the handheld Virtual Console, but now we're starting to see DS, trickle into the console, Virtual Console. So yeah, I think we're going to see just a lot more back and forth. And then the 3DS has a console, Virtual Console. They've got the NES games. So it seems like Nintendo is like almost preparing for in the future, hey, you can access any of our past handheld and console games on any of our new systems, whether it's handheld or console.
Hopefully Nintendo will put a bit more devotion into the whole Virtual Console scenario.
Yeah.
Following this announcement, though, because again, it's a big gripe of mine, and again this week when I checked, there's no Virtual Console game on the 3DS schedule. So I think they really need to be releasing at least one every week.
Yeah,
Really supporting that.
Yeah, because even the Wii had a better Virtual Console cycle than what the Wii U has. Right?
Yeah.
Because at least the Wii had, you had at least 2 games a week, if not more. And they were just consistently building that library. So I don't understand the reasoning not to do the same thing.
I'm really curious to see if the DS Virtual Console titles on the Wii U actually compare to the experience on the dual screen experience with the DS.
Mm-hmm.
If they can kind of get that to translate well over the Wii U.
I think it will with the gamepad acting as the second screen.
Mm-hmm.
I think you'll be able to get the same experience. It should be really interesting to see.
Yeah, it'd almost be like you guys remember the Game Boy Player?
Yeah.
It'll be pretty fun to experience some of those on the big screen.
Yeah.
I'm especially excited about some of the Professor Layton games. I think those will be fun on the big screen.
So I missed out on the DS one, so if they bring Professor Layton over, it'll be perfect for me to experience those.
Yeah, and I've said this since the first time they announced the Wii U gamepad, but man, Level 5, they need to make a Professor Layton on the Wii U. I mean, I know that the Wii U is not selling as well as developers would like, but man, that would be such an awesome game on the Wii U.
I could only imagine the puzzles they would come up with.
Oh yeah, and I think they could make the experience even more immersive. I mean, it already has good music and good dialogue and cutscenes and all of that on the handheld. I mean, imagine what they could do on the Wii U. And I think already with the 3DS versions, aren't they using the 3DS gyroscope to kind of look around and look for hit coins and things like that?
I believe you have that option.
Yeah. So, I mean, you could do that with the Wii U gamepad. You just move the gamepad around. So imagine like walking into a square of a town in the new Layton game, and you can, look around, zoom in and out, touch on people to get puzzles and hint coins and things.
Voice acting would be nice as well.
Yeah.
Instead of the occasional bleep 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 on the DS that replaces voices on the.
Yeah, and the fact that you'd have a disc, base format, you could easily store, a bunch of voice acting on there. So
yeah.
Isn't there going to be voice acting in the Professor Layton versus Phoenix Wright game coming up?
I'm not sure. I hope so.
I'll have to look into that one.
There always is on the cutscenes and like occasional segments of I don't know what you call it, dialogue.
Yeah.
But yeah, usually it's just the little bleeps instead of the voices.
Yeah.
So
Moving on a little bit, on from some good news, DS games, to even better news. Everyone's finally long-awaited Pokebank has made it to 3DS.
Yeah.
Woohoo! Yes.
Delayed adulation to everybody around the world.
Yeah. Now, I wasn't following the Pokebank and Poke Transporter very closely, but is Poke Transporter live as well today?
Yes.
Okay. Sweet.
And I think it's kind of weird that they were just silent. Like they weren't saying anything about it until just like recently that they were just like, here it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
Did they actually do an official tweet about it or anything?
It just kind of came out silently.
Yeah.
Yeah, I honestly didn't know until I was surfing on Facebook and somebody on like a 3DS guild that I'm on mentioned it, and then I was like, oh crap, I need to jump on that. So
I wonder if they did that on purpose to try and avoid like a huge influx. They're like, hey, it's going to leak out. We put it live on Wednesday, because usually Nintendo does stuff on Thursdays for the eShop. So I bet we'll hear the announcement, like the official press release will say, hey, Pokebank and Poke Transporter available today. But maybe they just wanted to, I don't know, scale it up or something.
mm-hmm.
Hopefully they'll handle the influx.
I don't know. The news spread like wildfire, so.
Yeah. You can't keep much from us, Nintendo, I'm afraid.
Especially when it comes to Pokemon.
Yeah.
Pun intended,
we
it's a
will
monster.
find it. Yeah.
People really went crazy. Just like month after month that was delayed.
Yeah.
Like, I think all of their every time they tweeted something, all their responses were, "Where's Pokebank?" All their videos responses were like, "Where's Pokebank?" It's like,
Yeah.
come people, don't worry.
Yeah. I know, yeah, they were always like, every time Nintendo of America tweeted something, everybody was just like, where's Pokebank? Where's Pokebank?
Yeah.
Give me Pokebank.
We have a one-track mind, we really do.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm sure it was.
Go
Go
ahead.
for it.
Sorry.
Go for
I
it,
was going to
Sam.
say, it sounds bad, but I've actually kind of lost interest in the whole Pokemon thing because of how long it's taken. So it'll be interesting to see how many people pay for it now, because
Yeah.
I've completed it once. I went back to it recently and obtained a lot of the ones that I suppose Japanese people had managed to transfer over. So now it's out. I'm past caring to an extent. So until maybe some DLC comes out, which they've certainly hinted at, I think I'll wait till then, really.
Yeah.
Do you think Nintendo's kind of learned a lesson from this whole Pokebank fiasco?
We can always hope, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Only time will tell.
Yeah. Hey, it seems like they learn the hard way sometimes with online infrastructure. I don't know if they just don't anticipate demand accurately, but I hope they accurately anticipate demand in the future.
It just seems like they completely underestimate the popularity of things, and then when it explodes, they're surprised and they're like, "Oh, well,
I'm like, oh, we didn't even know you wanted this." It's like, what?
People like Pokemon? What?
Yeah, what? Yeah. Yeah, but yeah, I agree, Thomas. I think probably a lot of people. I know a lot of people are still excited about it, but probably a lot of people who would have gotten Pokebank when Pokemon X and Y had first come out and they had first announced it are probably not gonna do that monthly cost, especially if they're not playing the game as much.
I think it's mainly going to appeal to lazy people like me who just want to complete the Pokedex without doing all the work. Because I have a ton of them are my older games that I need to transfer over. I don't want to re-evolve them anymore, so.
Yeah.
I guess it's not that big of an accomplishment to complete your Pokedex now, is it?
It is for me.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's more daunting, I think, with all of them, but I don't know.
I worked my butt off in Diamond to get it all complete, and then I kind of gave up after they kept releasing more.
Yeah, You know what would be really cool is if you could, almost with like Miiverse or something, it would almost be like achievements, but you could have, like with Pokebank or Poketransporter, you have that linked up to your Miiverse account, and then like it gives you like a special icon that says, "Oh, I'm a Pokemon trainer and I've got 300 Pokemon," or something like that. And then you really know the hardcore people when it has, how many are there? 698 or something like that. It's almost 700.
So yeah, some really
Yeah,
huge
it's like
numbers.
7.
Yeah. So if they had like some crazy looking gold star thing and Pokemon champion or something, you'd be like, whoa. That may motivate more people. If you had some sort of way to kind of like they do on
Gotta
3DS.
bragging rights.
Yeah, like on 3DS when you unlock all the different masks for Street Pass.
Hmm.
Why not have something like that for the Wii U?
Like Mario Kart has something like that on 3DS as well, doesn't it? Where it shows you like the star if you've completed every race and every.
Hmm.
So when you race online, you'll have a little emblem next to your name.
Yeah, and like as silly as that is, I know I would probably try and do it like just so I could get that little star or 3 stars or whatever.
Definitely, it's fun. It fosters the community to be competitive, to have fun, and share ideas and tips.
Yeah.
And then, oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to say this is a little off topic, but that's one thing that isn't really a huge deal, but I wish Nintendo, like especially like the 3DS and the Wii U now, had like some sort of achievement system that was kind of like standard.
Mhm. Yeah.
Anyways,
Moving forward from awesome news to not so awesome news, the canceled Batman Arkham Origins DLC due to lack of demand. The season pass is gone now on the Wii U, so people who got that were offered a refund, but they won't be seeing any more DLC. What are you guys' thoughts on that?
can't say that I'm not surprised because Wii U's kind of missed out on quite a bit of DLC. Not saying that's right. I think that Nintendo gamers should have the same access to DLC that everybody else does. But like I said, I can't say that I'm not surprised.
Yeah, it definitely stinks. It's because and when I was looking, I have Arkham Origins. I actually bought it recently when it was on sale. And when I was looking on the eShop, I was encouraged because I saw all this downloadable content. I got it just a couple weeks ago. And so I was like, oh, cool, look at all this DLC. And then I saw on there, it said Arkham Origins Season Pass. And I was like, I think this is the first Wii U game I know of that actually has the Season Pass. Because I remember for a long time people were like, oh, Assassin's Creed 3 didn't have the Season Pass. Assassin's Creed 4 for Wii U didn't have the Season Pass. Like most other versions of the games that were coming on Wii U, the 360 PS3 versions, the other ones had the Season Pass. So I was at least encouraged to see that, and then when I saw that it was canceled, I was like, well, there goes that. But it at least proved to me that it's doable on Nintendo's eShop and that developers are just, too lazy to do it. So.
Yeah, it's just there's no excuse for it. I think part of it is that developers are scared because of all the bad press Nintendo is getting.
Yeah.
Because they've had a bad first year or whatever.
They're doomed.
Yeah.
Doomed.
That's the old adage. Yeah.
There definitely were a lot of scare articles that kind of came on as of late, like right around the time of the investors meeting, like probably when the what you call it, the economic thing, the news came out.
Yeah.
They're all about Nintendo not meeting their sales goal.
Mhm. Yeah, and I think Nintendo kind of exacerbated the problem by not addressing it earlier. Because we literally had almost 2 full weeks of silence from when they announced the forecast revisions to when the investor briefing happened. And you know how many stupid, crazy articles were out there in that 2 weeks' time? Like, it was just
too
ridiculous.
many.
Like, I go to a website for Apple News, and even on the Apple website, it was like the first time I'd ever seen them talk about Nintendo. And they had 2 articles over that 2-week period about Nintendo. Like, hey, Nintendo may be making games. They're doing really bad, and they said that they're going to be revising their structure. Blah 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 blah. So they had all these articles on this Apple site. I'm like, you've got to be kidding me! Come on. It was like sky is falling, basically. Yeah.
And everybody was like saying they're going to start making mobile games and stuff. I'm like, there's no way Nintendo's ever going to start making mobile games.
No, like I've said a million times, as soon as Nintendo stops making consoles, their own hardware, they're gonna stop making software. So there's never going to be a day where they're going to make software for another platform like that. So.
Wasn't somebody quoted saying that it was either going to be hardware or nothing?
Yeah, Iwata was quoted as saying that. That was several years ago, wasn't it, Thomas? I think you were saying you had read that too.
Yeah, I think it was a while back, but it was Iwata that said that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Essentially the gist was, hey, if we ever get out of the hardware business, we're done. We're out of everything. Mm-hmm. So.
I think with the whole cancelled DLC scenario that's going on at the moment, Nintendo need to not get too flustered by it. They need to, I think, like I said in one of the past Koopa Casts, they need to focus on first-party titles. Mm-hmm. They've got Donkey Kong coming out, and that seems to be getting quite decent reviews from what I've heard. Mm-hmm. And if they continue to put out quality software, people are going to think, well, maybe I should pick up a Wii U. And then at the end of the day, these third-party developers might think, oh, we've made a mistake here, leaving out the Wii U. There are fans, there are people that have the system. Maybe we should, put DLC out onto the Wii U. We're making a mistake by leaving them out. So,
yeah.
I think once we get more of those key titles to come out, and you're going to see more people buying the system, and then developers are going to realize, okay, now it's a much safer environment to come in, and we'll start seeing that DLC coming back because now there's a bigger audience for it. They feel safer investing the money to put it into it. So we all know Nintendo's had the problem of having scarce amount of games during the first year. And so unfortunately they haven't learned too well from that. But it always gets better. Smash Brothers is going to sell tons and tons of units. So just that alone.
I don't normally see that, like, the lack of games, though, as, like, a Nintendo-specific problem.
No, that's true.
Because, especially with the recent release of the PS4 and the Xbox One, I don't think either one really had a huge library of games.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I guess let me rephrase that Nintendo, like, first-party specific. Like, it took a while for Pikmin 3 to come out, to say, like, oh, man, I can only play that on the Wii U, I gotta have that.
Yep.
Well, they did have quite a few that they said were going to be out and ended up being delayed for quite some time. So
I think that was part of the problem too.
Yep. Yeah, especially ones. Yeah, Pikmin 3 was originally in their quote launch window, so to go all the way to August was a big blow. And then another huge blow was the Rayman Legends delay. So
I still think if that was exclusive, it would have kind of gave it another good push, but then it went multi-console, so...
Yeah. I still think that hurt the Wii U almost more than anything all last year, and I think it hurt Ubisoft, to be honest. I mean, I heard the sales for Rayman Legends were not what they had hoped. Think about it. If it was exclusive on the Wii U for a good 6 months, and then in July, August, they announced, hey, we're going to release it on the other platforms for the holidays, they would have gotten way more sales. They would have had all those people that would have already had the Wii U version and bought it, and then they would have sold a bunch more because the people who were dead set on getting a PS4 and Xbox One are like, oh yeah, I want to get that game too.
Well, for the longest time, when you'd go to an in-store demo or something, what was on it was a demo for Rayman
Legends.
Legends.
Yeah, and it was not
You know.
viable. You can. It was so ridiculous.
And it is a really missed opportunity too, because that game single-handedly showed off what the Wii U was capable of. And I
Definitely.
think that's another big problem, is we've gotten good games, but none of them have really used the gamepad in creative ways. I mean,
Yeah.
that's got to be the Wii U's biggest selling point, is the unique way of playing the games with the second gamepad. And besides Rayman Legends, I can't really think of any that have taken too much advantage of it.
Yeah,
Like we're
and
getting golf now.
Zombie U was.
yeah, Zombie U.
Sorry, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, as far as Nintendo first-party titles, Nintendo Land is probably their best example of using the gamepad. I mean, because look at Mario Brothers U, it's not the most compelling use of it. Super Mario 3D World, it's got some good uses, but it's not integral to the gameplay. And then from what I was hearing, I don't know if this is a rumor, but for Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze, if you're playing it on the gamepad is completely blank when you're playing.
Really?
Yeah, and I don't know if that was just a rumor or people who were playing it in a recent play test. The gamepad could have just been, it could have been a dev unit and it was just black while they're playing.
Well, if that's the way it's played, I mean, that seems like a missed opportunity.
Yeah, so I don't know. We'll see when the game comes out and see what support it has on the gamepad. But up until this point, Nintendo's always shown that game using the Wii Remote and Nunchuck. It is supposed to have Pro Controller support, I believe, but anyways, it just seems. Yeah.
It'd be a nice surprise to have some sort of gamepad use or something within.
Yeah, I mean, you got to have at least, I don't know, some sort of a user interface or something on the gamepad while you're playing. Like, I mean, if for nothing else, like using like balloon items or squawks or something like that you can buy at the store. I'll just tap on the touchscreen and use them. It's way better than just having a black screen. So that may have just been a rumor or just a development version that someone was playing. So I don't know if that'll be the final.
Definitely something that I think they've lost their way with. They have a great console and there's so much potential in that, and I think they've kind of forgotten about that. And I think that would sell consoles too if they started coming out with games that really use the gamepad in creative ways.
Yeah,
it's like when Zombie U first came out, there were a lot of people saying, "Oh, this is really cool. We haven't seen anything like this." The use of the pad, and yet since that, like you say, there's not really anything else that's taken advantage of it, really.
And
I mean,
oh, go ahead, Alex.
I was just gonna say that's what Nintendo's known for is taking, that kind of technology and using it in new and interesting ways. It's like they gotta have that heart back into it. The Wii U doesn't feel like it has that heart, that same like spirit of Nintendo, the creativity. They gotta get that spark back.
Yeah, and I was glad that Nintendo acknowledged in that investor briefing that they've really failed. To show the Wii U gamepad in compelling ways in their games. And they said their focus this year is totally on using the gamepad in better ways, more unique ways. And then he did say that there's going to be NFC games as well, right? So that's exciting, Sam.
Yeah, I think
Maybe
NFC is going to be at E3 this year.
Yeah, definitely.
Maybe one of my predictions will come true.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. This is the point. I guess we're gonna start wrapping it up a little bit. So I just wanted to go around the room, see what everyone's kind of been playing. Anybody want to play up real quick?
Well, I'm using Pokemon Bank. I gotta transfer all those guys over so I can complete X and Y Pokedex.
Yeah.
And then I'm waiting for Bravely Default. I did everything on the demo, so I could transfer all that over. Got the Collector's Edition pre-ordered.
Nice.
So I'll be excited to play that in a few days.
Nice. Well, I've been playing some Pokemon, actually. Some Pokemon X and Y. and some Batman Arkham Origins. Oh, and actually, this last weekend, we were down visiting family for Caitlin's birthday, and we played a ton of Wii Party U. And it was actually, I don't know if you guys have played Wii Party U at all, but it's a lot of fun. I think in my review I gave it a 7 or 7.5 or something like that. I'm not sure how much replay value it has, but we had a blast playing it. We played it with a bunch of family this last weekend, and it's like Mario Party mixed with, I don't know, Nintendo Land, I guess. But it was really, really fun. The modes that are very much like Mario Party, the one where you kind of have to roll dice and you're going around a game board, that was actually really, really fun. They did a lot of different mini games to roll the dice, so you had to, one of the examples, you're using the gamepad and you have a blow dart, and then you have these balloons that are floating up on the gamepad screen, and you have to look around and then blow into the microphone to shoot the blow dart. And depending on which balloon, each balloon had like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and that was how many spaces you would go. So it wasn't just simply rolling a dice, It was, there was a lot of different variety in there. There was even like pitfalls and traps on the game board. It was pretty fun. We played that for a good 3 hours or more.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's one of those games that really shines if you have a bunch of people to play it with.
Yeah. They also have a really cool Pictionary game where each person hands around the gamepad and they're given something to draw, and then everyone at the end has to guess which person had the different object. So 3 people had the same thing to draw, 1 person had a different thing, but they're actually similar objects. So you may get like fence and railroad track, and you only have 15 seconds to draw it. So you're just drawing like almost like stick figures and stuff like that. So by the time you see everything up on the screen, you're like, which one's the different one? There was one hilarious one we did. Sorry, I'm taking too much time, but there was one we did where Katie got grizzly bear, so she was supposed to draw a grizzly bear, and she was like, she kind of froze, and so she ended up like quickly drawing a teddy bear. Well, then everybody else got teddy bear.
Oh no!
And so at the end, like we all looked and we're like, so like everything looked like almost exactly the same. And so we're like, I guess this one. So everyone has to choose, and it's pretty fun.
That's funny.
I would recommend it, and it comes with a Wii remote, so you can't go wrong with it.
Why not?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Who's next?
I guess I'll go. I've been sick the past few days, so I've been playing a whole bunch. But before I got sick, I was playing through a bunch of Pokemon. I caught my legendary, which was awesome because I've never done that before in a Pokemon game. So,
congratulations, sir.
Yeah.
And I actually have evolved forms of all 6 of the starter Pokemon. So Fennekin, Chespin, Froakie, Charmander, Squirtle, and Bulbasaur. I've got all 6 of them all evolved.
Nice.
Yeah,
that's a pretty big accomplishment you could have mentioned earlier.
Oh, you know what? That's true. Shoot.
All right.
You're already a Pokemon master.
Podcast for starting, so you can say that.
Yeah.
So that was really cool. I haven't been playing much Wii U recently because my kitty chewed through the charge cord for the gamepad.
Oh.
So I don't really want to turn on the gamepad too much unless I have to until I get a new charge cord. So Pokemon pretty much, and somebody gifted me on Twitter The Legend of Zelda Oracle of Seasons, I think.
Oh, nice.
And so I need to play that because they were kind enough to give it to me for free, so I should play it.
Yeah.
Look at you getting presents.
Where are our presents?
Yeah, those games will rack your brain sometimes, but a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Very cool.
What about you,
Um,
Tom?
I have been playing Bravely Default
Nice.
pretty much non-stop.
Lucky dog.
I've probably put about, I don't know, 50 hours into it now, but
Oh wow.
Nice.
Nice.
anyone that's following me on Twitter will see that I talk about it all the time. So I know it came out last year in Europe and Australia, so I probably would have given it my Game of the Year for 2013. Um, it's hard to say, obviously, because it would be considered a 2014 release, but um, I'd say it's definitely a Game of the Year contender. I'm loving it. So.
Nice.
Any pro tips for us who will be starting out soon when it gets released? Without any spoilers, of course.
Not that I can think of. If you've played the demo, I haven't played the demo, but I've heard it's quite different to what the demo kind of gives you the impression of. It's a bit misleading. But in terms of gameplay, it's very much an old classic Final Fantasy game. I'd say it's most reminiscent to PlayStation 1 kind of era of Final Fantasy. But the dialogue's great. I'm always laughing at it, and it's really well written. The music's brilliant. It's just great all round, really. So if you're on the fence about getting it, I'd say go for it.
It's kind of interesting to hear you say that about the demo too, and how it differs from the actual game. Because somebody, I don't remember who it was, but somebody on Twitter today was just saying that they played the demo and they were kind of disappointed, and that if this is the way the game's going to be, then they're not sure they even want to buy it.
Yeah.
Just funny because.
Sorry,
go
Alex,
ahead.
go on. No, you go on.
I was going to say the demo is actually what sold me on the game because for some reason I'm very particular about my RPGs, but I really liked the battle system. It was easy for me to pick up without being too confused. I didn't have to spend an hour learning it, and I was able to use it really effectively where I felt like I was in control of it, and that's very important to me in an RPG. So being able to experience that, I was like, okay, this is going to be a fun game. That's what sold me on it, was the demo.
Yeah, the battle system certainly takes a little bit of getting used to. So if you played the demo, that probably helps, because when I first started, I was using the Brave quite a lot in boss battles, whereas my tip would be to use default, stack them up for when you really need them, and then kind of unleash them all at once. So yeah, if you've played the demo, I'd imagine that helps with your impression of it. Yeah, from what I heard, the demo had some fetch quests in it, and people weren't very happy about doing fetch quests. But I've not really encountered any whatsoever so far. I think there was one, which is a bit of a bummer to have to do, but there's not really any of them, I'd say.
I think maybe the confusion could have been avoided if they had, explained that. I think the purpose of the demo was to get people used to the battle mechanics, the battle system, and they just did the fetch quests and stuff like that just to give you something to do, a goal.
Yeah.
But that's what I took away from the demo, anyways.
All right. Well, I think that that about does it for our 43rd Koopa Cast. And yep, join us same time 2 weeks from now. And one last thing, we had a little comment from our writer Tristan, and he says, "Hi guys." So everybody wave to Tristan.
Hey,
Go
Tristan.
home, Tristan.
All right.
I like it.
And thank you all for tuning in to Koopa Cast, and we'll see you next time.
Yeah, thanks. See you guys.
Take it easy,
Bye.
everybody.
Bye.